Sorry to call you.
I teach you that. Just go to our house, just they come back on the third.
I had to get permission, I gotta get permission to enter this, we were right there across the street.
The insurance guy came today. They showed the office this morning, it's not right there. He should walk around the side, he said, I have to call somebody else. I just do the house reactions, he was kind of office. Do that, somebody else. No, I tear it down, sorry. This morning to Walmart.
Y'all don't make a call.
Just lost some shorts and underwear. I'll just, you know, they got out their phones.
7 p.m., we're going to call the Town Central regular council meeting to order. We've already had the invocation, and we're going to our first item on the agenda, which is the reading of the regular meeting minutes of 5/8/23. Is there any corrections?
No, sir.
Motion will be in order.
I move that we adopt the reading of regular council meeting minutes of 5/8/2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you so much. Second item on the agenda is a public session, 30 minutes total for any members of the public that would like to speak. 33 minutes per resident, which must live in the town of Central. And we have signed it. We don't have it. Going to item number 3, receiving dispositions of petitions. Any Mr. Administrator?
Not at this time, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you so much, sir. Number 4, reports from council committees. Mrs. Bowers.
Planning will meet on Tuesday, it's the 20th. Yes.
At what time, 6:30?
6:30. That's all.
Thank you so much for your report. Streets and public safety, we have nothing to report at this time. Finance and marketing, Lynn Chapman.
If you'll, I'm sure you had a chance to look at your monthly financial report. It looks really good. Thank you, Susan and Philip, for whatever you've been doing. Good job. We're only in the red in water at $29,318, and I would certainly think that we can catch up on that very easily. And that's all.
Thank you for the report, Ms. Chapman. Recreation, Mr. Deal.
Yes, sir, thank you. Engineers started bid process for the depot for the parking lot and sidewalks to make it ADA and otherwise accessible. So hopefully by the end of this month, they'll be awarded and work will be done so that we can get that open. The disc golf course, the road is almost complete. Matter of fact, it's today they were able to work on the curbing of it, the drive entrance. So probably 2 more weeks after lining and letting it cure. Quite an amazing thing. I just want to give thanks to Tom and our department and Mullinax Tree Service for their help. What was estimated to be, how much?
Almost $500,000.
$500,000 we were able to do for about $30,000. So significant for that. So I think
I really have to give thanks to somebody like Will Mullinax, who was, that stuff that we just could not do with some of those trees and everything, and that's just a testament of his giving to the community.
that's right. Thanks again. Central Tigers football and cheerleading. This year we have the most cheerleaders ever to sign up. There's 72 cheerleaders, 4 teams, and 4 teams of Central Tiger football. And so quite an amazing community event to represent that many children in our community. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Deal, for your report. Enterprise, Mr. Holliday's not here. Move on to tourism and economic development, Mr. Hayes.
So I don't have anything specific to economic development and tourism, but I do want to thank Jim Moss again for facilitating the unity in the community. We collected 2,359 pounds, 6 ounces of food for the Clemson Care community. And that's almost double what we collected last year. It's 1,400 pounds. I was out briefly that day. It meant a little more to me this week. I went by, I had to go to the Pickens County Administration Office, and the food bank is just down the hill there. And I drove by, and there was probably a couple hundred people there waiting to get in. And it really made what you did with the unit community mean more to me, having that visual, and just seeing the need in the community. So thank you for that. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you for your report. Any new business, Mr. Administrator?
No.
Old business?
No.
All right. Introduction and consideration of new ordinance, policy, proclamations, and resolution. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 of them, 7 of them, excuse me. And we're going to read them and call for a motion. Resolution number 6, -12, 2023 JW. Call for a motion.
I move that we adopt Resolution 6/12/2023 JW.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion unanimous. Resolution number 6/12/2023 TG.
I move that we adopt Resolution 6/12/2023 TG.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion unanimous. First reading of policy 710, Resolution 6/12/23 PS. And entertain a motion at this time.
I move that we adopt Resolution 6/12/23 PS.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion unanimous. First reading of policy 710-23 Central Depot rental. Motion would be in order this time.
I move that we adopt first reading of policy 710/2023 community park building rental.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion unanimous. Excuse me for that. First reading of policy 710-23 Central Depot rental.
I move that we adopt on first reading policy 7/10/2023, the Central Depot rental.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Votes unanimous. Ordinance number 710-2023 election.
I move that we adopt on first reading ordinance 7/10/2023 election.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, if I might. I think that I had said out loud in the meeting when we first discussed this, that I wasn't real settled about it. I decided that probably the best thing to do would be, because I was torn, I didn't know which way to go. So I went into the community and talked with several other citizens and got their opinion on what they thought, what they would want. And it was a resounding yes, that they would like to keep the way of determining the results of elections the way we have in the past. And since I'm a voice of the people, and all of us are, I have to really take that to heart and that's not something that I'm going to take lightly. So for that reason, I wanted to explain I will be voting no on this.
All right. Call for a motion. Any more discussion, I'm sorry, any more discussion? If not, let's vote on it. All in favor of adopting ordinance 1723, election, raise your right hand. 3 for, 2 opposed. Moving to ordinance 1723, fallen
Excuse me,
trees.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, you need to call for the all opposed.
Oh, I'm sorry, do I need to call them out?
Yeah.
All right,
All opposed?
all opposed, Mr. Deal and Ms. Chapman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Forgive me. Moving on to ordinance 1723, fallen trees.
I move that we adopt ordinance number 710, 2023, fallen trees.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Votes unanimous. Thank you so much. Consideration of ordinance and policies already in possession of council. Second reading of ordinance 6/12/23, BU 18 fund only. Motion will be in order.
I move that we adopt ordinance 6/12/2023 BU.
Second.
Any discussion?
He's got my recusal.
That's right. Thank you, sir. All in favor, raise your right hand. Votes are unanimous with one recusal. Second reading of ordinance 6/12/2023 BU for the remaining funds containing 10, 12, 13, 20, 30, 32, 33, 35, 40, 60, 71, 80, and 85 funds. Motion be in order.
I move that we adopt ordinance 6/12/2023 BU for the remaining funds.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Votes unanimous. Moving on to item 2 and then number 8 section. In conjunction with the budget, council needs to give the mayor pro tem the authority to enter into negotiation with the administrator's contract. Motion will be in order.
I make a motion that we give the mayor authority to enter into negotiations with the administrator for the administrator's contract.
Is that second?
Second.
Do we need to specify Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes. Mayor pro tem.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Call for a motion. A second and a discussion. All in favor, raise your right hand. Votes unanimous. Second reading of ordinance 6/12/2023 RB. Motion will be in order.
I move that we adopt on second reading ordinance 6/12/2023 RB.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Votes unanimous. Second reading of policy 6/12/2023 base rates. Motion will be entertained.
I move that we adopt on second reading policy 6/12/2023 base rates.
Any discussion?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Votes unanimous. Second reading of policy 6/12/23 RS. Call for a motion.
I move that we adopt on second reading policy 6/12/2023 RS.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Votes unanimous. Second reading of ordinance 6/12/2023 BL. Call for a motion.
I move that we adopt on second reading ordinance 6/12/2023 BL.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Vote unanimous. Reports from the administrator and mayor. Administrator report, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Just give you a little update on the ANATs, GPATs, because we're gonna have to move quickly on that. I think they need us to pass an ordinance by the end of August rather than the end of September, so we're moving up the date a little bit. I'll try to explain what's going on without confusing myself. We've got to do two things. One is we need to establish who's going to be in the ANATs. We're going to pull out of the Greenville Transportation Authority and go into the Anderson Transportation Authority. What the gentleman is going to do that works for ANAT is make a recommendation as to who should be represented on the board. And we're looking at either it being the mayors of the new municipalities, which is Pendleton, Clemson, Central, and Liberty, and Norris, or just having 5 representatives that covers that. That way it doesn't have to be the mayors. It could be a council member. So we're still kind of going back and forth as to what we think needs to be recommended to the policy board. So as best I can tell, we have to commit to going to ANATs before the board is settled, but we can at least have an understanding. So I should be able to let you know what the understanding is between everybody involved. The amount of money that goes to ANATs versus what went to Greenville, they can estimate what they think it's going to be, but they don't really know because it's the feds that divvy out the money. They may decide to give Greenville more money than what they were given before and not give us as much. They don't know that until the feds do. So we've got to kind of step out on faith and hope everything works out okay. Some of the other members that we're recommending to be on the board is one from the county council, one representative from Pickens County Council. So you're probably looking at about 5 or 6 out of 18 board members would be represented from Pickens County. So that's better than what we had at GPATs. At GPATs we had 1 out of about 22. So we'll have a little bit more representation. When we met with several of the gentlemen that are on the board. They seem pretty diplomatic so far as being us joining them. They want us to join them. I think it's a great idea for us to go to ANATs rather than stay at GPATs. But I'll give you as much as I know, which everything I just said is no guarantee. It's just what we're thinking and what we're going to recommend. There's going to be a policy meeting. The policy board is going to meet next week. So I'll have a better idea. By July, we should have a better idea of what their thoughts are. Okay? Any questions about that, or are y'all thoroughly confused? Good?
You don't need any action on our part at this time, right?
Not yet, not yet. Once everybody agrees that that's the direction we want to go in, which is the municipalities and the county, then ANAPS is going to send us an ordinance that we'll need to pass 2 readings on. And then after that, they make it official to the federal government that this area is now an ANAPS.
How many are leaving the GPAT?
It's just Pickens County.
Okay.
It's us, Clemson, Liberty, and, well, because we're in Pickens County, there actually will be a representative from Pickens County Council that will be on ANAPS, whereas before it was just I think that Mayor Clemson, we picked the one rep from, at the PCMA meeting. So I like the representation. It sounds like we're gonna at least get pretty good representation. All right, Church Street water line. If anybody's been to Walmart in the last week or so, maybe you've seen some construction work on Church Street over there by Jerry's Pizza / Pico Heating and Air. That's where they're starting. So they've gone down the right of way in between Pico's and Jerry's Pizza, and they're turned up towards, heading towards 93. Any questions about that?
Just glad to see him there.
I'm glad to see him there, man. It's been a year. We signed a contract June of last year. It took that long to get the ductile iron pipe on site. Amazing. Supply and demand. All right, thank you.
Thank you for your report. Mayor report is discussion on the county road paving. All of us was emailed a list of the Pickens County road paving, and we open up the floor for discussion to give the administrator some guidance in the direction he needs to go. We discussed this in our word section, and some of the poorest roads don't even rate single digits, but then that's not the most traffic roads, I would say. So the floor is open for discussion. What do y'all think?
I sent y'all, the email I sent you, I sorted it by the PCE ranking, so that's the worst to the best. So that kind of gives you a gauge of what the study said in 2018. I think you need to take two factors into account. One is traffic count. I don't think we need to call DOT to get a traffic count. We all live in town central, so we should be able to tell which roads are heavily traveled. We should know the difference between Green Street and Church Street without having to look at traffic counts. So I would take those two factors in account. The other thing I suggested was there's some rehabbing that you can do rather than a complete asphalting that will extend the life of the road. So a road that's, I think I said between 71 and 86, you can do some reclamation on it and maintain what's there, and that road will last longer. You might want to pick 2 roads to do that, and then 3 roads to be completely paved. So that was the thoughts I kicked out, that I threw out there, and just needed some direction as to what you thought. I don't know if there's any more research I can do except traffic count. Like I said, I think we can figure out what traffic count
Did our streets people look at that?
is. Did our streets people?
Yeah.
Yes. Paige suggested, I talked to Stephen Henderson that works for us, that used to work for DOT.
Right.
Most of the suggestions I just gave you came from him.
One of my questions is, like, Wood Street could be broken down into 5 or 6 different pieces. So are we going to piecemeal a street, or are we going to pull all the different sections that are listed like it's Wood Street? Would that count as one road? Would that count as 5 because it's 5 different pieces?
I would say no. I would say if you want Wood Street paved, I think that's one street. That's the position I take.
I agree.
I wouldn't even offer the 5 pieces and say that's 5 roads. I would list 5 roads and put entire road or a portion. I think they've got it broken out because different sections are different grades. So you take all of Wood Street, maybe a couple, break it up into 5 sections, maybe 2 of the sections is more in the reclamation stage. So they could reclamate part of it and then completely pave the part that's in poor condition. But I'd call that one road 5. That's what I would do.
Well,
I'd make them tell me it's 5.
I think we kind of need to average those all together then, so that all of our Wood Street is together, so that would give us kind of a ballpark number for what we're looking for there. Is that the way that would work?
Yes. I think I'd go with the whole road. And I wanted to ask a question while we're trying to figure out, Joe, is crack sealing the road the same thing as one of the 5 roads?
I would say yes. Whatever they do to the road, if you choose to repave the whole thing, or whether you decide to do a reclamation crack seal thing, whichever you choose, I would say that would be considered one paving.
Do we know how long it will be before this is done?
Did the letter say when they were gonna do it? I think they're gonna do it before, they're gonna do it in the next budget year, the July to June budget year.
So if we know that construction's going on down one of these roads, would we want to, would want to wait till after the construction was done before we pave that road?
Yes. And what they're doing now is they're doing another study. So they're gonna pave these 5 roads for us, and then by the time we're ready to choose the next portion that we want paved, we'll have a new study.
Okay.
If we can pick up a little width here and there, is that possible? Or we're just gonna pave what's there?
Do I now?
Can we pick up a little width on the roads from 18 to 19 feet? Or, I'm just asking, is it possible?
We could ask.
I mean, I'm just asking, some
Yeah.
roads a little narrow, can we?
Yeah, we could ask.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Do you remember, are you gonna reference the letter? I think the letter said any risers or any stormwater drains that need to be replaced or fixed, or all that's on us. So I would think the widening of it, if we want to widen, would be on us to get it prepped. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mr. Hayes.
no, that's what I was gonna mention. I thought in the letter it kind of disclosed what the bounds were in terms of what they were going to pay, or what was gonna be a part of the reconstruction or reclamation, so.
And do you have pretty good faith that they're going to get what they say they're going to get done in the next budget year, or will they string us out? You can't answer that.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think the fact that they sent an official letter kind of gives it some teeth. And they sent the same letter to all of the municipalities, so if they don't do it, it's not going to set well with any of the municipalities.
And we have to have this in by August 1.
Yes. That's why I need to get some kind of direction if there's anything else we need to do. This is definitely going to have to be on the work session for July,
Right.
because y'all are going to need to vote on it in the July meeting. And we're having a work session and a council meeting the same day. So if there's anything you want done, there is no time between work session and regular meeting to do this.
So when Steve gave you these other recommendations, did he look at it and did he have any recommendations for what he would pick?
Everything I just told you, he would go by the PCE, that would tell you which roads were in poor condition, and then you need to look at them and see which ones you think would best benefit as far as traffic count is what he mentioned.
But he didn't say, here are 2 or 3 that I think really need to be on the list.
No, nothing like that.
Is it valuable for us to ask that question of him?
To be honest with you, he told me, he said back when he was doing it, it was a wig and a wag. He would go out and look at a road, he would grade it himself. He'd say, well, this one looks like a 60. And he'd write it down, and that's what they put in the computer. So, DOT didn't used to do it with rocket science and engineers. They sent the guys out to look at it. So I don't know I don't think you're gonna.
Now they drag something, right, or
Do what?
something like, they drag something or something like that, and it measures the.
No, they didn't do that.
They don't
According
do
to
that.
Stephen, he rode down the road, got out and looked at it,
Okay.
you know, kicked it to see if they
I also
also
had
had
some
you
kind of
know.
leveling device that it uses.
I was kind of surprised by the way they used to grade the roads. I mean, nowadays you have an engineer that drives around with a little sonar thing on the bottom of his car.
Right,
All
that's
that,
what-
they didn't do any of that. He said he wasn't.
That's what I was asking, that's what
Any more discussion on the direction? Ask the
Thank you, Sharon.
Any more?
Well, what I would do if I were y'all between now and the work session in July, take those, there's 5 roads you can do it to. Look at the PCE and go with the lowest scores, and go drive down the road and look at it. The study hasn't been done since 2018, so a lot has happened since then. Maybe there's some roads that grade out at a higher grade, than when you actually go down, it looks pretty bad because it's a heavily traveled road and it's deteriorating quicker. But I would physically, if I were y'all, drive down the roads that you want to recommend in July. And we need to have 5 roads ready to vote on right after the work session.
Didn't the letter say you could add a 6th road? So most of ours end up being the crack sealing or whatever, which would be cheaper. Could we add a 6th road?
I don't see why not.
If you can catch them quick enough, the longitude and latitude cracks in the road, you can seal them up. That road will last for, keeping water from getting in between.
Yeah.
Asphalt. All right, we know what we gotta do. Anything else on that? Now, we're going to item number 10, executive session. Do we have anything, Mr. Administrator? If not, we consider ourselves adjourned.
Okay, we're gonna need everybody to come by and sign the ordinance for the budget, and then you and I can meet after.
Yes, sir.
You saw what I did.